Alrighty. All right, everybody, welcome back to Walks and Wall Street. I hope you all are having an amazing, what is today, Thursday? Yeah, today's Thursday. Hope you're all having an amazing Thursday. Today is September 21st, 2023. It's about 9:04 p.m., and we are reporting live from Midtown Manhattan. We are pretty much adjacent from the 432 Park Avenue building, and I think we're probably going to stay around Midtown Manhattan, Sutton Place, maybe go all the way down, check out the east side, look at the East River. But we do have a lot to talk about tonight. There is going to be a lot of recap talk of the FOMC meeting that was obviously yesterday. We know that Fed Chair Jerome Powell did not raise interest rates. So the Fed funds rate is going to be held steady. Hold on one second. Let me, I forget to turn on the do not disturb mode. I apologize. Sorry about that. Okay, so interest rates are going to be held steady here in the United States. The current Fed funds rate is going to be held at 5.25% to 5.5%. But I think the biggest takeaway from yesterday's FOMC meeting is that Fed Chair Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve is going to be steadfast as it relates to keeping monetary policy conditions and the monetary policy environment a lot tighter for a lot longer. Now, we've been talking about, some big name investment banks, economists at very notable banks claiming, right, or projecting that there is a high likelihood of rate cuts coming as soon as Q1 of 2024. Now, I'm not buying that. We've talked about that for quite some time here. Look, at the end of the day, the Federal Reserve's target on inflation is 2%. We are not there, okay? We are about at 3.7%. And am I confident that we may get to 2%? I am. But it's going to take a little bit more pain, and what I think is going to get us there, which is technically going to be the last sort of leg on the chair to break, is probably going to be shelter costs. Okay, and this is something we've been talking about. Real estate prices in almost every single business cycle are the last to correct, and we are just starting to see some significant softening in the market. Now, I believe, and many of you may agree or disagree, that's okay, I think the commercial real estate market is going to get hit in a big way, but I think long term that is going to lead the way for new product to come onto the market, some interesting condo conversions, and more supply to come on the market, which I think is a good thing. Now, once shelter really gets moving to the downside here, I believe that CPI will go to 2% in a hurry. Now, once again, if you type exclamation point CPI in the chat, once again, exclamation point CPI in the chat, I might as well just do it since I'm on my computer, you'll be able to see the 12-month rolling average of inflation broken down by category, right? So if you go ahead and click that link, It's going to take you to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, and it'll have an infographic there. I want you to go ahead and deselect everything except shelter. Okay, now we'll do a quick review. I know we've been talking about this for a while, but this is critical here, guys. This is like the most important piece of the puzzle. In March of 2023, shelter appears to have peaked in the United States at 8.2%. In April, we got an 8.1 reading, again, deceleration. In May, we got an 8% reading, further deceleration there. Fast forward to June, we get a 7.8% reading, July 7.7%, and now in August, we get a 7.3% reading. So you're starting to see that cascade and roll over here a little bit, even though the headline shelter number actually went, or the headline CPI number, actually went up. Why? Because energy prices are going up again. We talked about crude oil. It's back above $90 a barrel. Actually, I may stand corrected on that. Crude actually came down a little bit today. If you look at ticker symbol CL, which is the ticker symbol for the light crude oil futures contract, currently, after hours, we're trading at about $89.87. Okay, so we could call it $90 a barrel. So the long and the short of it is this. The Federal Reserve and Fed Chair Jerome Powell are very, very steadfast and firm that they will not budge on monetary policy conditions until inflation gets down to the 2% target. He reiterated that yesterday on the live stream, and I think the market really took that to heart today. Let's shift gears here, and let's talk about the equity market for a moment, okay, before we get started. S&P 500 took it on the chin today, down about 72 points, closed the trading day at 4,330. Now, what's interesting about this is we are now living below the 50-day moving average. And today, we broke below the 100-day moving average on pretty significant volume. Could this be the market understanding and processing this information of this new reality, that we are going to be in a higher interest rate environment for longer? But to take really kind of maybe another side of the perspective here, as we've talked about, I want you to think back on the last stream of September, the last stream of August. One of the things we did is a complete analysis of historic stock market returns by month. Now, one of the things we noticed about that study is that September is the worst month for stocks. So is this sort of on the nose? Is this sort of par for the course to have this big correction going into September, right? While interest rates are at records we haven't seen in the last 20 years, I think the sell-off is probably justified. We'll go ahead and just take a quick peek at the NASDAQ 100 futures. Again, NASDAQ 100 was hit pretty hard today as well. Makes sense, right? NASDAQ 100 encompasses a lot of the high beta growth stocks, which tends to underperform when interest rates are higher, right? NASDAQ 100 is trading at 14,854. And then we'll check the Dow Jones Industrial Dow 30 futures. Dow is also down today, closing back below its 100-day moving average, 34,337 on the Dow. Two notable pieces of information we got today, everybody. Yesterday was the FOMC meeting, but today we heard from the Swiss National Bank, and we also heard from the Bank of England. Now, remember, last week we heard from Christine Lagarde over at the ECB, and it seems as if today the Swiss National Bank is following Fed Chair Jerome Powell's lead, holding interest rates unchanged and steady. The interest rate over there at the Swiss National Bank held steady at 1.75%. That ends 5 consecutive rate increases by the Swiss. But think about it like this, okay? Inflation is not really a problem over there in Switzerland. I want you guys to do a little bit of research here, but inflation in Switzerland came in at 1.6% in August. That is well below their 2% target. So things are looking pretty good over there. So I would definitely agree with the rate pause there from the Swiss National Bank. Inflation is already back down below their target of 2%, which is great. Also, the Bank of England is leaving interest rates unchanged as well. We will talk about that a little bit further tonight on the live stream. Lastly, I do want to check in on the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Now, according to bankrate.com right now, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage in the United States, the average is 7.59%. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means depending on the credit worthiness of the borrower, you're probably having some borrowers getting quoted upwards of 8% on a 30-year fixed, and you're probably having some getting quoted, in the very, very low sevens. Okay, I think that's going to continue to put pressure on the market. One of the things I'm seeing here in New York City on the ground floor is apartments, condos, and co-ops are sitting on the market for significant lengths of time. And if sellers want to get a deal done and they want to get a transaction done, they're going to need to come back to reality here and reprice for the new rate environment, right? If we just run some simple math here, you take a $500,000 single family home or a condo, back in 2021 when interest rates were 3%, if you had a client put down 20% on the deal, you leverage out the rest, your monthly payment's probably about $2,200 a month. Not bad. That's pretty manageable, and I think that's pretty normal. Now, the deals are kind of flipped on its head, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. If you put down 20%, okay, on a $500,000 piece of property and you leverage out the rest at 7%, well, your monthly payment's probably going to be closer to $4,000 or maybe even $4,500. One of the main reasons why most people, okay, and I know this is a big discussion, okay, but most people, all right, this is going to be a general statement. The reason why most people choose to buy is because they could build equity in the property and the monthly payment is either the same or a little bit less than renting. Well, with this new interest rate environment, it is not less than renting in most cases, guys. So the deals are kind of flipped on its head. So when a customer goes and looks at the financials of making the decision to buy or rent, they're like, with the way the rate environment is, I think it's probably best to wait on the purchase because my monthly payment's going to be less if I just rent. And so transactions aren't getting done, right? If you look at the National Association of Realtors existing home sales report that comes out, and you should be plotting this in Microsoft Excel, by the way, transaction volume since 2021 and 2022 has really been doing a nosedive, falling off a cliff, right? And there's a direct correlation between the interest rate environment and the amount of transactions being done. So I think we're going to go through some tough times here, but that is good news for repricing in the marketplace. I think rents are going to come down. They're already coming down. We're going to see prices normalize here, and deals are going to start to pick up, and things are going to get more affordable, which is good. I mean, God forbid people can afford to live somewhere, right? All right, that was a really long intro, but I think it was necessary because we have a lot going on. This week was jam-packed with monetary policy information, and we didn't even talk about the Bank of Japan, which is going to be coming up here tomorrow. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close up my laptop. I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat, and we will get started on the live stream here tonight at Walks from Wall Street. I want to thank everybody for joining us. The stream is growing incredibly fast. We have so many new people here, so I just wanted to take that second just to say thank you all for joining us each and every night. So allow me to sort of pack up here and we will get started. Alrighty. Let's get after it, team. All right, and off we are, guys, into the abyss, into the Manhattan, into the Gotham City. All right, Don F is here. Hey, Don, it's good to see you. Keith Walker, what's up? ETC333. MV Black Valley's here. Robert Alton, welcome. Herb Nevins, always appreciate you. Atomic Punk NYC, Optimus 17. John is here. I see Arctic Paratrooper says, glad, Tom, it's a little chilly out tonight. Glad you're on. Good to see you. You know, it is actually kind of a little chilly out tonight. I was just about to say that. During the day today, it was scorching hot. I spent the majority of the day in Brooklyn, New York, and I actually got some really cool footage walking across the Manhattan Bridge. I'll upload that video in a little bit. Maybe I'll upload it tomorrow. Like, amazing footage walking over the Manhattan Bridge. And I was sweating. And very, very seldom do I sweat. But I went back to the office. My office is right here, 575 Madison. And it was like an iceberg in the office. And then when I come out here, it's freezing too. Anyway, be very proud of yourself. And the good news with interest rates going up, that means you're actually going to make a pretty good rate of return on your money. So God bless you, and hopefully you get another 40,000 under your belt. Jafet Perez is here. Evan Weeks, good to see you. Danielle GGNYC is here. My good friend DM, thank you for your very kind email, keeping me up to date. Len is here. Juan Fernandez, British Gray, Jafet Perez. Rosie, Richard Vogel, Sally, I think I saw Austin City Limits, Charles Hong, welcome. TB says busy day in the markets, absolutely it was. Jay Sully, Gary Carpenter, the Mighty Bull, and we have a full house early on. Love that. Stormy says, God bless you, Thomas. Thank you so much. God bless you too. Okay, everybody, let's kick this stream off here. All the way in the distance, we have a beautiful shot of One Vanderbilt. But what I think I want to do on tonight's live stream is give a quick update on the construction process at 270 Park Avenue. I don't really remember the last time we sort of toured that construction site. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, 270 Park is going to be the newest Class A office tower right here on Park Avenue in Manhattan. And I think it's really cool because it is JPMorgan Chase's brand new global headquarters. And I'm really excited to see the progress on that. So what we'll do is we'll cross over to Park Avenue. We'll make a right on the corner of Park, right near 432. And we'll take a little bit of a stroll down Park Avenue today, which I think is very fitting because it was a very volatile day in the markets. S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Dow 30 taking it on the chin in volume. Volume picked up on all of the exchanges, and market breadth is really deteriorating rapidly. Before I forget, I want to make a quick note to everybody in the chat. I want you to go ahead and pull up a separate browser, okay? And I want you to go to slickcharts.com. We'll do that as we're looking at the beautiful facade of 432 Park Avenue. So if you type in SLICK and then charts.com, that's going to pull up the weighted chart of the S&P 500. And we've talked about this before because essentially, I think it's something crazy like 30% of the entire index now is essentially the top 10 stocks in the S&P. Apple, ticker symbol AAPL, makes up almost 7% of the entire S&P 500. So the reason why I'm telling you guys to take a look at this is because so as those mega cap tech stocks go, so goes the market. And Apple is trading below its 50-day now. Microsoft had a pretty rough sell-off. Tesla was down big, and also Nvidia. So if you think about, if you want to get a good feel of where the market is going to go or the health of the market, and when I mean market, I mean the S&P 500, make sure you pay close attention to those top 10 stocks because chances are if Apple's down 2% on the day, there's a good chance that the entire market is going to be down as well. Alfred is here. Good to see you, Alfred. Thanks for joining us. Goldie, welcome. Juan Fernandez says, Tom, do you post individual stock analysis? I used to, but then I didn't like how people would follow it. So I try to just talk in generalities, because even though you say, hey, don't, blindly, follow what I do, people will just blindly follow what you do anyway, is sort of what I've discovered, and I don't really want to be a part of that. Just because I think people should just learn how to invest on their own. So we usually just talk about the markets in a general sense. I try to, well, at least now, very seldom do I try to do big, deep analysis on individual stocks, because it doesn't matter what you say or what you do. We're actually going to turn down Park Avenue. That kind of rhymed. People will be like, hey, email me. Hey, Tom, I saw you talk about this stock on the stream. I just bought a ton of it. Thanks so much. And I'm like, oh boy. Hey, Tommy G is here. What's up, Tommy? Good to see you. Eduardo is here. Says good evening, everybody from Brazil. Jay Sully says, Tom, if Apple penetrates India, they will have a 40% increase, 40% profit increase per the news. Yeah, I'm very bullish on India, and I think we've had this conversation before, and I'm really glad you brought it up, because I think you're spot on. And it's not just Apple, right? If you think about, one of the main reasons why I'm really bullish on India is because they have one of the fastest growing economies, particularly in the middle class. Countries, generally speaking, that have a very robust and healthy middle class and a younger populace and population growth, that is like the magic elixir for GDP growth and economic growth. And that's really what India has. And also, they have a very educated populace. They put a forefront on education. So that is like a magic elixir for success. So I agree. Another thing, as we are sort of standing at the Ferrari showroom here, another thing that's interesting to kind of consider here is sort of China shooting themselves in the foot, if you will. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, ever since the Big C, one of the main things that has been happening in corporate America is corporate America has been diversifying away from mainland China, particularly in manufacturing capacity and capability. And I think that's for good reason, right? Now, India has been a big beneficiary of that. Tim Cook, I believe, on one of the last earnings calls that they had for Apple, they are now just starting to rip away some of the manufacturing capacity for their iPads away from China and giving that to India. So I think India is going to be a big beneficiary on that, and I'm very bullish on the Indian economy as a whole. Hey, Razzle Dazzle 786, good to see you. You're walking Park Avenue tonight. We're checking out some of your cars here in the showroom. Anybody a big car guy? I'm not really that big of a car guy, though, honestly. These look beautiful, but I don't know. Hey, Carl Ross says, Tom, India has call centers and lots of scams. Everywhere has lots of scams. Charles Hong says, Tom, did you hear Cisco bought Splunk? I did hear that. I'm very familiar with Splunk. I actually interviewed there a few years back. That's going to be a big deal if that'll go through. We'll see. Now, this is 425 Park Avenue. This is one of the newest Class A office towers here in New York City, and it is the temporary home to Citadel until our friend Ken Griffin builds a competing tower with 270 Park Avenue. Hey, Evan Weeks says, I don't know that I'd want to do business with Ferrari. They're really snooty towards their first-time buyers. Now, you know what? I've heard a rumor, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I don't think anybody could just buy a brand new Ferrari, right? I think you have to be invited. Is that true?
It's all.
Is it an invite only for new purchases for Ferraris, or is that resales? Somebody told me that. Again, I'm not a big car guy, so I don't really know, but hey, touring different places is here. Says, Tom, hello, how are you this evening? I'm doing really good. It was a busy day, but it was a good day. The market environment is really tough, but we're hanging in there, so. Hey, the Mighty Bull, good to see you. Thanks so much. Wow, somebody says Ferrari makes poor quality products. Truth. Now, I don't know anything about that, but you know what I do know about? Did anybody see the concept car that came out for Lamborghini? It's going to be an all-electric Lamborghini. I never thought I'd see the day where Lamborghini is getting in on this whole EV trend. It's kind of crazy, you know, the trend that Tesla set. You know, Tesla really set this whole massive trend towards EVs. You know, now everybody is pretty much hopping on that bandwagon. I mean, think about all the new, like pretty much every new car launch product set that has come out is an EV. Case in point, the brand new Ford Mustang Mach-E. Now that thing is pretty sick. I think we could all agree. And the New York City Police Department actually purchased some for their fleet. And we've seen them driving around New York. Those are a really, really cool car. And I think they work really well in New York City for the NYPD because, I mean, if you're just driving around Manhattan, if you're just driving around Brooklyn, you know, if it has like a 300-mile range, it's not bad, I guess. Now, everybody, this is the corner of East 53rd Street and Park Avenue. We are now looking at my favorite building in all of New York City. This is the Seagram building. And I really wish I would have worked in this building. Now, right before the big C, the pandemic, there was a company in here called ServCorp. And ServCorp used to compete with WeWork. I'm not even sure if ServCorp is in business. They may have gone bankrupt. But they had an office space inside the Seagram building. And I was about to rent a space there. And then guess what? The big C happens, everything shuts down, and I believe ServCorp in the Seagram building goes out of business. So if you want to look up the company, because we do talk about WeWork a lot, the company is called ServCorp, and I think their only location now is in the One World Trade Center, but it used to be right here in the Seagram building. Joe says, are some of the cabs electric? Yeah, I took, well, actually that's not true. I never took a Tesla taxi, I took a Tesla Uber. And the thing was so impressive, I couldn't even believe it. I told you guys the story. I believe it was a Tesla Model Y, I think. This was about a month ago now. Crazy how time flies. But I called an Uber. I almost never take Uber. And it happened to be a Tesla, and I was so impressed with the car. The driver was telling me all about it, all about the capabilities, and I'm convinced it's the safest car on the road. As we were driving on the West Side Highway, the control panel has 360-degree view of everything around you, literally. There's not an inch of the car, in terms of like the entire perimeter of the car, that is not recorded. So this means the cars have no blind spots anymore. Think about what that's going to mean for reducing accidents. I would assume that a big portion of accidents happen because somebody's driving in somebody else's blind spot, you try to merge onto another lane, and guess what? Now that's a car accident. But with Tesla, I mean, my God, it's like the whole thing is like, it's amazing. It's an amazing, amazing piece of engineering. And I was extremely impressed. I know we have a few viewers in the chat that are Tesla owners. I think Carl from Canada, I think you have a Tesla. You definitely sing its praises for sure. Juan says, it'll be my daughter's first car once I pay it off, and I'll buy them the Tesla Model X then. Very nice. I think if I was ever gonna buy a car, it would be the Tesla Model X for sure. But it's just a little bit too pricey right now, I think. Hey, Lewis is here. This is beautiful streets. Good to see you, Lewis. Abdul is here. Fun Feeds is allergies. Mine too. They're on and off. I got a crazy allergy attack today in Brooklyn, in Red Hook. I'm allergic to this particular weed. Not to get too far off subject, but is anybody familiar with ragweed? Anybody who's ever heard of that, ragweed? I am so allergic to that, it's unbelievable. And I walked past this huge plot of it today in Red Hook, Brooklyn. And I had to, immediately I started getting all cranked up. So it's horrible. It's horrible. I could never live out in the country. Hey, Office Girl says it's ragweed season, it's all over. Yeah, my eyes swell up really bad from it. Dan Sang says, Tom, I feel like I'm relying too much on these technologies can diminish people's driving skills. Well, if you think about it, maybe that's a good point, but once we get full autonomous driving, and I'm talking about like real autonomy, not what Tesla claims to be autonomous now, think about what that could potentially do for insurance premiums. Because what we're seeing in the market right now is insurance premiums are skyrocketing, but as that technology progresses and gets better, and we have real, true full autonomous driving, the amount of accidents are just going to plummet on the roads. And I think that's a good thing. There's so many people, unfortunately, that die every year due to preventable car accidents, I would argue. There was, I believe it was somebody in the chat here that informed me of a really horrible crash that happened in upstate New York today. I think it was like a big bus of high school students. Now, I'm not saying that autonomous driving would have prevented that crash, but it probably would have prevented a lot of them, particularly, this is Blackstone, by the way, particularly drunk drivers, right? Imagine if you have a Tesla that has full autonomous capability down the road. You come out of a bar and you're hammered, you just jump in your Tesla and the thing drives you home. It will totally eliminate drunk driving, which is really what I'm looking forward to. So some people say, look, I don't want fully autonomous vehicles because the government's going to control it and shut down my car. But I really try not to live in like a dystopian frame of mind. I try to be like an optimist, and I don't think everybody's out to get us. I think technology is good. If you look back throughout history, this is 432 Park Avenue, by the way, looks beautiful. If you think back throughout history, every single major technological advancement was met with severe resistance. Every one of them, every single one of them. It was met with protest and severe resistance. I think EVs, fully autonomous driving, is going to be met with severe resistance. But over time, people will get used to it, and guess what? It's going to be a lot safer. And right on cue, Tesla Model Y. Very nice. Colton Manning says, hey, Tom and chat. Hope everybody's having a great night. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Stormy says the bus was in Long Island. That bus crash was bad. One person died. It was horrible. Somebody told me about it today. Joe is here. What's up? Jay Grant, welcome. Stephanie Stearns, welcome. Carl Ross, Tesla is going to make trucks and change the trucking industry. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this was 2 earnings calls ago, didn't Elon Musk announce that Pepsi just received their first delivery of the, I always forget the name. It's not the Roadster. What is the Tesla semi truck, right? I believe Pepsi just received their first shipments of the semi trucks. Hey, Betos' Model Y is the best-selling car of 2023. Hey, Natasha P says, do you think owning Tesla is becoming a political statement, pro or against Elon Musk? Only if you make it like that. I mean, some people make everything about politics. I try to stay away from those people. I like Tesla because they make good products, and they make products that interest me. Do I need to agree with the political opinions of every CEO that I consume their products? No. I think that's a really just like very dry and just like exhausting way to live. Like, and I know some people like that, but mainly only on the internet. They're like, oh my gosh, did you know this CEO back in 1995, they donated to this campaign and that? It's like, dude, give it up, pal. Like, seriously, give it up, pal. It's so exhausting. And that's been like really commonplace now, just to nitpick something that happened in like 1995 of somebody and then bring it up and say, oh my gosh, did you know 20 years ago this person did this? We should cancel them forever because they did something stupid 20 years ago. Stump. Now, this is all closed off. This is East 50th Street and Park. Now, right on the corner of this street, we'll see if we could walk through, I'm not sure, but this is a major 5-star hotel. And this week in New York City is the UN General Assembly. So we have some of the largest politicians, we have world leaders, we have pretty much everybody that makes a political impact in the world was here in New York City this week, and they are still here. Hey, Carl Ross says, Tom, politics has no role whatsoever out there. People ignore that. Panda says, unfortunate Elon couldn't make the Model E. Interesting. All right, let's cross. I'm surprised we don't have the, I'm surprised we're not buffering. Usually whenever we're around a big political event, we usually start to buffer a lot.
You're good.
At the end of the block is the St. Patrick's Cathedral as well. All right, 2 more blocks and then we've reached our destination. Well, the first destination for the night. 270 Park Avenue, which is going to be the brand new JPMorgan Chase office tower. Hey, Lamont says, love the stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So let's talk about it. Somebody says, I forgot the username because the chat's going fast, but somebody says, are we predicting a strong market rebound for Q4? Well, let's talk about today, and then we'll make some projections forward. And I also want to know what you guys think. Now, the market really took it on the chin today, and this was after Fed Day. In my opinion, I think the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has been like nauseatingly clear about what he is going to do as it relates to monetary policy. Let me take out my contact lens. Whenever I get allergies, my contacts float around and it's like the worst. In my view, Fed Chair Jerome Powell has been so clear in relation to what he's going to do with monetary policy. He has said time and time again that they are committed to getting inflation back down to their 2% target. New York Fed President John Williams has said multiple times that they want to see unemployment at 5% before they even consider any rate cuts. So Goldman Sachs put out that piece saying that they are expecting a rate cut in Q1 of 2024. I don't think so. I would disagree. I would have to take the other side of Goldman Sachs as we look at this cause figure that kind of looks like Elmo here. But the market's just kind of maybe setting into reality, saying, oh, okay, he really means business. Because inflation ticked up yet again, right? 3.7%. This is the third consecutive month of increases. And in Fed Chair Jerome Powell's speech yesterday, he said that it is almost a certainty that we will get one more rate hike before the end of the year, and that monetary policy conditions will remain tight. Now, although they didn't raise interest rates yesterday, if you noticed, he gave a little bit of an update on the Fed balance sheet. Now, the balance sheet is made up of mortgage-backed securities and U.S. Treasuries, and they are letting those assets roll off the balance sheet. They are shrinking the balance sheet. And I think the market's sort of coming to terms with that, and we have very, very lackluster market breadth. So very few stocks are participating now. Now, September is the worst month for stocks. So this could be a little bit of a coincidence as we look at 270 Park Avenue here. September is by far historically the worst month for the stock market. So the question is, do we catch a little bit of a bid at the end of September, and is this a normal correction? I'm watching the 200-day moving average on the S&P 500. That is my main guardrail. All right, everybody, what do we think? Thoughts in the chat? How do we think 270 Park Avenue is coming along? Now, if you notice, they're working on this thing 24/7, 365, all throughout the night. And they're starting to put the glass all over the facade. You know what? It almost looks like the glass is probably about 75% of the way done. It's just the top 25% that they still need to put the glass on. Hey, Jen Claus is here. What's up, Jen? Good to see you. We're checking out the construction site of 270 Park Avenue tonight. Sunshine after rain is here. Optimus 17 says it looks beautiful. Now, when we cross the street, we're going to have a better view. But also look at that. They've expanded Park Avenue significantly. A lot more room for pedestrians, a lot more room for cars, headed all the way into Grand Central Station. I think they did a good job. Now this is a really good shot here. This is the One Vanderbilt building, but 270 Park is going to be the newest Class A office tower in New York. And then a couple blocks up, you're going to have Ken Griffin building his office tower. Now, when we're back in Miami, we're going to check out the development site of the Citadel Security Office Tower in Brickell. Hey, John Lee says, hey Tom, the averages fell right through the 50-day moving averages. Do you think the 200-day will hold? I think so. Currently, I think so, but you have to pay attention to that deteriorating breadth because we have very, very little participation. Now, one of the things that's disturbing me a little bit is when we had this big market rally, I said, look, if we get a correction in September, I think that's normal, right? September is usually always a crummy month for stocks. But what I didn't like to see about this correction is that the small caps are getting absolutely obliterated. I would have liked to see a better rotation out of large caps into some of the small caps, but essentially what we've gotten is just total like annihilation in a lot of the high beta names and a lot of the small caps. So we'll see. Now, not only the indices, but a little bit earlier on in the stream, I said you got to look at the main components of the S&P. So if you go to slickcharts.com, once again, slickcharts.com, SLICK.com. This is another good view. Let's actually do wide angle lens. What do you guys think about the wide angle lens on 270 Park? Anyway, I'll finish my statement. All of the major stocks that make up the majority of the weighting, in the S&P 500 are all trading below their 50 days as well. Apple got clocked. Nvidia is sliced through its 100-day moving average today. So if all those big mega cap tech stocks are selling off, well, that's going to put a lot of pressure on the individual indices. Ooh, this is such a cool shot, everybody. You have the wide angle lens looking all the way up Park Avenue to 432. That's a really, really unique shot. Hey Noah, this is Tom, hope you're well. Are there other technical indicators that you like besides moving averages? No, I'm not really a big technical guy, actually. I'm more of a fundamentalist, but you have to pay attention to the technicals. But I don't throw a lot of indicators up. What I do look at is percentage of stocks on the market making new 52-week highs and the percentage of stocks making new 52-week lows. I look at the NASDAQ advanced decline line because essentially what you're looking at to identify if you have a durable bull market is market breadth, right? A handful of stocks can't really carry the market. Now, in this summer rally, market breadth actually improved a little bit, improved a lot. But we're sort of giving a lot of that breadth back, particularly in the small caps. You know, now that they pushed the sidewalk back and took out the median on Park Avenue, it looks a lot wider. Like the street looks a lot wider, and it looks more clean. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We usually go live 7 days a week starting at 8:30, pretty much 9 o'clock now. I've been late almost every day. But we'd love to have you as a part of a team here. So let's head to Grand Central Station. Hey, the RVer TV, what's up? It says, hey Tom, great camera work and views. I hope all is well. Hey, the RVer TV, what is up with you, my friend? Thank you so much for your very generous $20 donation. You know, I actually had a question for you. Now, for those of you who don't know, the RVer TV, he runs a really, very big channel here on YouTube, all about RVs. He knows everything there is to know about RVs and all that type of stuff. Quite obviously, right? Now, from what I read, during the pandemic, there was a massive boom. We'll wait till the ambulance goes by. Now, from what I read, during the pandemic, there was a massive boom of people purchasing RVs, right? Obviously, with the work from home, people wanted to travel the country. Now, the question is, are you seeing a massive flood of inventory on the resales market for RVs? So are there potential good deals to be had out there since the market, which I would assume to be flooded with RVs, or are you not really seeing that? Because there was an interesting article in the Wall Street Journal about it. This is now at the Hemsley building on East 46th Street. This is where the cabs and the cars are coming off from Grand Central Station, picking up the passengers, and this side is where they go in to drop off the passengers. But thank you again for your $20 donation. I appreciate that very, very much. Hey, the RVer TV says, yes, the RVs coming on the market, people are losing them. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting trend to watch, right? I predict the same exact trend is going to happen with boats. I mean, I kind of make a mental note of everything that my friends and acquaintances are doing. And over the course of the pandemic, I was like, my God, isn't it so strange that 90% of my friends are buying boats? I go to one of my friends, I'm like, this guy Anthony. I'm like, Anthony, what the hell are you buying a boat for? I'm like, you're never gonna use it. He's like, yeah, I may go up to Lake George though. Yeah, maybe once, and you're gonna buy a boat? Anyway, I think it's just the undertones of the finance and RV. What would be the interest rate? Are you talking like double-digit rates now, probably? And I'd assume some banks wouldn't lend on that, especially in this environment. Now, speaking of auto lending, did anybody hear that Wells Fargo, and I think it's Wells Fargo, maybe somebody could do a fact check on this for me, but I believe Wells Fargo is getting out of the auto lending business entirely. Is that true? Could we please do a fact check on that? I could be mistaking the bank, but I think I read that somewhere. I think it said Wells Fargo is getting out of the auto lending business. Michael J says, I will say boats do hold their value pretty well. Hey, Chinook wins. This is the 2 happiest days for a boat owner. The day you buy it and the day you sell it. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I guess. I don't own a boat. I've never heard that one before. I'll have to read that one again. Did I read that right? Hold on. A-Scans is good for Wells Fargo. RVer says yes, it's a luxury rate for recreational loans. Huh. A-Scans says, did you say auto or oil? I said auto. I'm a little bit congested due to the allergies, so maybe the my voice is off a little bit. I apologize for that. But that's what I heard. Could anybody confirm or deny that? Could we have one of the moderators do a quick Google search? Because I don't want to be spewing that out loud if that's not true. Natasha P says boats are extremely expensive to run and maintain, I can imagine. Hey, hang with Mark Mom. What is going on? Welcome. Okay, we will make a left here on Vanderbilt Avenue, and this will take us all the way down to Grand Central Station, but we are going to pass the Yale Club on the corner here. Unfortunately, there's scaffolding all over it. Hey, Carl Ross, Tom, I own a canoe and a kayak, always a lot of fun. Now, Carl, and really anybody else too, Carl and anybody else, I got to give you guys another recommendation about New York. As we are checking out the Yale Club here, if you want to do something really enjoyable and really fun in New York, when the weather is good, go all the way to 42nd Street and head towards the Hudson River until you can't walk any further. And let me tell you, you can go kayaking by the Intrepid Museum. Now, the Intrepid is a retired aircraft carrier, right, that is now turned into a museum, and you could actually go kayaking right under the aircraft carrier. It's incredible. So I would definitely do that. Ooh, Stephanie, that's true. The kayak at Brooklyn Bridge Park is also really fun. Weren't they going to make a floating swimming pool or something like that? Wow, 0.7. This looks like a brand new restaurant that just opened. The bar looks pretty amazing in the back over there. They have lots of outdoor dining space and a really nice dining room inside too. This looks like this just opened, so I haven't seen this ever. Look at that, very cool. It does look very fancy, right? Hey, Troy Atman, what's up? As I hear bagpipes. Indeed you do, my friend, and we are going to head towards those bagpipes because we're going to check out the inside of Grand Central Station. You have more police activity here. Ten out of 10 for the bagpipes. This guy's good. He's here all the time. He's very talented. All right, let's head inside Grand Central Station. I think this door is probably locked. And here we are. We are now inside Grand Central Station. We'll take a look at some of the architecture here on the ceiling. And you have the mighty bull in the middle. Mark STR. I never carry cash on me for multiple reasons in the city. Jen Claus says, Tom, can I ask how you got into real estate? Well, I've used the earnings that I've made in tech sales and managing money to purchase property. And now one of my goals is I want to develop. One of my long-term goals is I want to develop luxury condominiums in New York and in Miami. I think that would be very cool. And I think that would allow me to explore a more creative side of my work. Now, I love tech sales. I did very well in that career. I learned a lot, and I, had very good experiences there. And I think timing is very important in life. And I think over the last 14 years, I think tech sales for me was the right place to be. For multiple reasons, obvious reasons, right? Very lucrative career. And now I'm seeing a major change in the marketplace, and I think we're at a major turn in the business cycle here, where there's going to be, well, at least what I'm betting on, right? Doesn't mean I'm right. I think there's going to be a pretty big washout in not only commercial real estate, but residential in terms of the competition there. And I believe that it's going to be pretty tough, so to sort of dig your heels into the ground now, build connections with some notable developers and work for developers and learn the business. Over the next 5 to 10 years, I think the opportunity to build some really cool product and to maybe even buy some distressed commercial product is going to present itself. So that is sort of the bet I'm taking. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to be right. I could be wrong. I could lose all my money. But that's the bet I'm taking. Yeah. All right, let's do one quick loop around. But I want to show you a really interesting spot on the top of Grand Central Station. And I always show this every time, but we do have a lot of new people here. Check this out. If you see this spot, everybody see that? There's like a little black spot on the ceiling. That is what the ceiling used to look like. So when they cleaned and refurbished Grand Central Station, they've left that little rectangle of black tar as a reminder of what it used to look like back in the day. Because everybody used to smoke cigarettes, smoke cigars, and all of that tar and ash would go up to the ceiling, and it made like this very gross coat of tar. And they left it there, which is kind of cool. I always look at it every time I come into the station. It's a pretty good reminder not to smoke. I mean, if it does that to the ceiling, imagine what that's going to do to your lungs. Anyway. Hey, Richard Vogel is here. What's up? Good to see you. Hey, Mark says Tom, Wells Fargo has my mortgage and they recently started using a loan services to handle the payments, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, no, it can make sense because a lot of the times they resell your mortgage, right? So if anybody's ever bought a house, taken out a loan, and one company was handling your payments, right? You were paying one company, and then you get a letter in the mail. It says, "Oh, we've taken over the payments," right? Maybe it's like a PennyMac or something like that. They buy and sell mortgages, right? So one bank or a mortgage broker will do the loan and then they'll sell it. So depending on who is now the servicer of your mortgage, that's probably what happened. They probably just sold your debt. Hey, they probably just sold your debt. Hey, Solo Flyers, I'm supposed to start working here October 4th. Love that. Well, welcome to New York. That's fantastic. We're happy to have you here. Thomas Conroy says, Tom, are you ever doing a face reveal? If you type !Thomas in the chat, you can click the link and that'll take you to my bio and you can see my headshot and you could read a little bit of a bio about me. But I feel like on the streams, I like people more to focus on the surroundings, the environment, the buildings, the facades, the architecture, the people, New York. I'm not important. I think it's New York that's important. The people in New York are important. The architecture is more important. I'm not important. I'm just the face fit for radio, so to speak. All right, we are now exiting Grand Central Station. We will now walk all the way down 42nd Street. If we can scurry through the crowd here. And we will walk past Salesforce Tower. Hey, Capri says, hey, all enjoy the walk. And Tom does not need to do a face reveal. Hey, thank you, Capri, I appreciate it. No, we will. I thought about it, but it's like, I don't know, I kind of like just chilling. I kind of like just hanging out, talking to you guys, chatting about the markets. Hey, Astro Storm, thank you so much. Robert says the channel might grow even more if I show my face. I kind of like our group. I kind of like this group, guys. I like the fact that I feel like I'm connected with the audience. I feel like I know all of you personally, particularly the regulars in the chat. I kind of like that. It's kind of cool. Hey, Sunshine After Rain, good to see you. All right, so I think it's appropriate to walk past Salesforce Tower. Has anybody been on Twitter lately? Here's the reason why I'm asking that. Now, Benioff has been going on this sort of very weird tangent lately. And this was all after he made a big criticism about San Francisco. And now he's sort of like backpedaling about it. Maybe he got a little bit of a slap on the wrist. But I think myself and Mark Benioff may be on the same page here. And I'll tell you why. And I know you guys hate when I talk about this because we've been beating this like a dead horse. But we'll beat it one more time. We'll give the horse another pounding. Here's the thing. I don't think San Francisco is going to go by the wayside like Detroit, like many people think. If anything, the data is actually showing leasing activity in a lot of commercial spaces in San Francisco is actually picking up. So I think there could potentially be some opportunity there. But Mark Benioff, this was about 3 weeks ago now, he made a tweet saying that due to the deterioration of the city, the homelessness, the crime, the derelicts, all of that, right? He may have to move the location of Dreamforce. Now, ever since that tweet, he's been on a complete 180 saying, oh my God, Dreamforce, it was fantastic. It was the cleanest, best Dreamforce ever, and San Francisco is going to come back better than ever. Now, I appreciate that he's pumping San Francisco because I may want to invest there, but I don't know if the change is actually happening right away. Now, I hope it is. That's my bet. My bet is that there's going to be significant change in San Francisco. There's going to be a total refunding of the police force there. The police are going to be able to do their jobs and punish the crime, and the city's going to do a complete 180, and San Francisco is going to be a beacon of tech force utopia yet again. That is my bet. That is my bet. Now, could I be wrong? Absolutely. Absolutely. But before the career I'm in now, which is the real estate business, this is the hardest time to be in the real estate business. I was in tech, and I have a lot of connections there. I know a lot of people who work at startups. I have a lot of friends who are founders of tech startups, and they're all, I would say all, a lot are going to San Francisco. Not sort of what you see on the news of everybody's pulling out. There's actually people taking advantage of this opportunity to go to San Francisco. So what do you think of it? If anybody's seen sort of what's been going on Twitter with Mark Benioff, and if there's any people in the chat from San Francisco that wants to shine a little bit of light on it, I would appreciate that, and I think the chat would appreciate that, because I don't really believe we could, take everything we see in the news at face value anymore. I think we need to hear it from somebody who's feet on the street. Hey, Mark STR, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you very much. All right, we are now right outside the Stephen Schwarzman building, the New York Public Library. A-Scan says I wouldn't want to live there, but lots of people like to live there. Hey, Tariq Khan, what's up? Whew. This location where I'm standing, I just got a really bad whiff of this really pungent urine smell. So I'm gonna definitely move away from that. I don't know what that was. Hey, Jessica, says Tom, your live streams are very much appreciated. Thank you. Well, I appreciate your viewership, and you're very much appreciated as well. Billy says, Tom, San Francisco is still too high risk. Too mediocre reward. I go every 6 months, and it's getting worse. Wow. Well, thank you for that insight. Billy, could you give a specific, and I'm not trying to be a jerk and do a gotcha. I'm actually honestly curious. What is worse about it? Is it the homeless? Is it the heroin? Is it the crime? What is it specifically? I'll tell you what I see, and you tell me if this is confirmed or denied. I see all of these videos being sent to me by some of the viewers and even people on Twitter. You can't, from the looks of it, you can't even park a car in San Francisco without all the windows being bombed out and all your stuff being stolen. That is the image that I see on the internet. That's what I see from the videos on Twitter. I don't know if there's a lot of credence to that, but that's what I see. So much so that people have decided to roll down their windows just so they could allow people to steal their stuff, just so they don't break the windows. That's the San Francisco that I see. Now, are those isolated incidents that are overblown and it goes viral on the internet? Maybe. Maybe. I have an open mind. They do that stuff here in New York, okay? They'll take one little incident that happens in New York City, and it'll be all over Fox News in the morning, right? It'll be all over CNN in the morning. So, look, I try to be fair, but I'm not in San Francisco, so I don't know. Somebody says the videos are being altered. Roy says the issue. Oh, Razzle Dazzle 786 says Tom, as a native San Franciscan born and raised there, the homelessness is outrageous. The drug problem in Tenderloin is getting worse, and crime is getting higher by the day. Wow. Well, I appreciate that insight. It's kind of sad to hear that, honestly. Now, the big problem that I believe is the fentanyl. Now, I don't want to make the whole stream about that, but I think it's important, and I think it actually may impact the economy. If I were president, I would declare that an act of war by the Chinese government, by the CCP. They're floating all of this fentanyl through the southern border, killing 80,000 Americans a year. That's 80,000 people, okay, a year. 80,000 Americans of all different races, colors, religions, sexualities are being slaughtered every year to the tune of 80,000. It's coming through the southern border, and it's coming from China. 2 days ago, a family, I believe in the Bronx, dropped their little kid off at daycare, and the kid was exposed to fentanyl that I guess one of the daycare workers had, and the kid died. This was just a few days ago in the city, which is wild. So fentanyl is extremely addictive, and it kills. And that's what I see a lot on the news that's happening in San Francisco, and unfortunately now in New York. I've been seeing it a lot around Penn Station, a lot around 42nd Street, Times Square, near the Port Authority bus terminal, which is really bad. That is like a big hot spot for that. So it is my belief that if you solve the fentanyl problem, the heroin problem, you will probably solve the crime problem too. Because think about it. If you're addicted to drugs, right? If you're addicted to heroin, chances are you cannot hold a stable job. Okay, that's number one. If you can't hold a stable job, well, guess what? You can't get money to go pay for, guess what? The heroin. So what do you resort to doing? You resort to a life of crime. You resort to stealing things. You resort to robbing and breaking into people's cars because you're so addicted to the drug that you need to get that next high. It's called you're chasing your next high. I took a few courses about this. I went to a criminal justice school, and it's like a perpetual cycle. It's a never-ending cycle unless you stop the drugs. So until we stop the drugs coming in through the southern border, 80,000 more people are going to die in perpetuity forever in this country. It's probably going to get worse, and the crime will get worse, right? So in my view, and again, I don't know, this is just my viewpoint on it, you've got to stop the fentanyl, and then that will stop the crime. Because people can't be gainfully employed if they're addicted to drugs. It's just the truth. Hey, Joan K, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. This is West 40th Street. We are now going to turn down here by Bryant Park, and I'll point out some notable buildings, okay? So right behind the Stephen Schwarzman building, this is the Bank of America Tower. This is Brian Moynihan's company, and this is the Salesforce Tower, which sort of sparked this conversation about San Francisco. Optimus 17, good to see you. Dance is the last person that tried to be rough on the southern border, was bashed and called racist. Yeah, it always gets political, which is nonsense, and it really sucks. But now I don't think it is anymore, because both parties are kind of agreeing, right? Our mayor here in New York City, Mayor Eric Adams, he's been very vocal about that, and he's a Democrat, right? He's like, look, not only the fentanyl, but the migrant problem. We have about 100,000. We've talked about this a lot, but we can't handle it anymore. So I think everybody's finally coming on the same page. Joan is here. So Tom, imagine a plane full of people crashing every day, and the media says nothing about all the deaths of fentanyl. Yeah, it's true. It's kind of really horrible to visualize that, but that's the reality of it. And I mean, if it continues, and maybe some people may be watching this saying, Tom, this is an unrelated topic. Not really. I mean, think about what has been going on in some of these major cities. Businesses have been forced to shutter and leave. Before Rite Aid went bankrupt, we covered one of their earnings calls with the CEO actually came on the call and said, look, with all of the retail shrinkage or slippage, that's sort of the corporate term for theft, is shrinkage. Anyway, they say with all of that loss, we have to shutter some stores in major cities, right? Because there's been so much theft. Assuming that most of the people who are watching this live in a major city, chances are if you've been into a CVS, if you've been into a Rite Aid, Duane Reade, just a drugstore, even Target, particularly in Manhattan, in the outer boroughs, everything is locked up behind glass. Like you have to go and click the little customer service thing. We're gonna just take a quick walk through Bryant Park. I just want to show you the Bryant Park Grill. But you have to click the little customer service button for people to come over to unlock the case of glass so you could buy soap. It's getting a little bit ridiculous. And that has an impact on corporate earnings, because guess what? People are going to choose to shop elsewhere. People are going to choose to get their goods and services online where it's delivered to them and they don't have to deal with all the craziness. Okay, this is the Bryant Park Grill. This is a beautiful, beautiful space just to the south of the Stephen Schwarzman Building, the New York Public Library. UniJ23, what's up? Username, schmoozername. Good to see you. Hey, Melissa2087 says, I still love going to malls, but it's definitely not how they were. What malls are around now? I'm trying to think. Maybe Roosevelt Field Mall? On Long Island, Roosevelt Field. I think that's in Garden City, maybe. Dan, CVS, Walmart, Walgreens, and Target earnings all have been affected by theft. Employees got injured and nearly killed. I did hear about that too. Yeah, you're right. What was the exact number for Target? Does anybody remember what the exact... I feel like, Dan, you said this on the stream once before, and this is when we were covering Target's earnings. I want to say 500 million, but I don't know if that's right. But I think that may be right, actually. Anyway, guys, look at this. This looks great. This is the Bryant Park lawn. Now, what's wild is that in a few months, this beautiful lawn is going to be transformed into the Winter Village at Bryant Park. I can't even believe it, but it's true. Once we hit October, it's Q4. Can't even believe that. So pretty soon, as we're standing right in this location, we're going to be looking at the ice skating rink, we're going to be looking at the Christmas tree and all these different shops that are around Bryant Park. I'm definitely not mentally prepared for that yet. But, hey, the seasons come, the seasons go, and the show must go on. Goldie says, Tom, I ordered my prescription online and had them delivered to me. I shop all my clothes online as well. Yeah, what is the company that Amazon acquired, right? We talked a little bit about mergers and acquisitions tonight. Cisco buying Splunk. We'll see if that materializes. I think a while ago, Amazon bought a company called PillPack, and that is like an online pharmacy. So yeah, I mean, now speaking of that, you guys actually helped me out a lot the other day. I finally ordered a pair of glasses, finally, after, talking about it for months. That's usually how I operate. I'll talk about it for months on end, and then once it comes to like the breaking point where I absolutely need it, I'll order something. I was so surprised at how cheap it was. To order prescription glasses online The process was so seamless. It was so easy. And with expedited shipping, it cost $23. Can you believe that? For full prescription glasses. Now, the website that I bought them from was iBuyDirect. Has anybody heard of that? And no, it's not sponsored. I can already... There's always like some maniacal people that watch and then they'll like hammer me. They say, Tom, you need to disclose you're sponsored, obviously. No, dude. There's no sponsors of Walks in Wall Street, dude. Come on, man. Anyway, so the company is called iBuyDirect. And it was $23 with expedited shipping. I don't even know how they turn a profit on that, but has anybody ever bought glasses from there? I just did. And it was $23. Pretty good. And so here's the point to that, right? To sort of piggyback off of what Dan was saying and the other chatter that says she gets her prescriptions online. I would assume if you walk into a regular glasses store like Warby Parker or something like that in New York City, how much would a prescription pair of glasses cost? Maybe like $100? Because I remember going to the eye doctor as a kid, right? And at the end of the, whatever it's called, your prescription, right? After your eye checkup, the doctor says, okay, now go out and pick out a pair of glasses. And it's always like $200. I don't understand why that is. Now it's, now it's $20. Dan says it cost me $500 with insurance. That's ridiculous, dude. Check out iBuyDirect. Maybe I should be sponsored by them. If you go to iBuyDirect, dude, $23. Great deal. Someone says Warby Parker. Is a lot cheaper than LensCrafters. Renee B says glasses cost $400 with my insurance. Oh no, you got to go to iBuyDirect, my friend. All right, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous view here. And if you notice, they took down the stage at Bryant Park. So the stage is down. They're probably making way for the Winter Village. Hey, A-Name, thank you so much for your very generous and kind $10 donation. This is Happy Wednesday, Tom. Thank you, A-Name. Ukrainian Royal is here. Thank you so much for your $2 donations. Says, hey, Tom, thank you for the stream. And what a beautiful location. I appreciate the support. Yeah, we're checking out Bryant Park tonight. We've been having pretty good conversations, very diverse conversations tonight. From monetary policy, both on the Federal Reserve side, the Swiss banks side, which we heard today. We heard from the Swiss National Bank, and we heard from the Bank of England. It's been an action-packed week on Wall Street as it relates to monetary policy. Now, tomorrow is going to round out the week. We are going to hear from our good friends over in Japan, the BOJ. And the Bank of Japan still has negative interest rates. So we'll see how the currency markets react. Dan's is looking at the site now. It sure is cheap. Wow. Yeah, I don't know how they do it. Now, I'll let you know the quality of the glasses once I receive them, or if I ever receive them. T. Cook's is open. Stock shelves are no longer valuable in high crime locales. Pickup and delivery only would solve the problem for those areas. I think you're right, but then it's like, is that any way to live life? Do we want to live our life not being able to go into the store like a normal person and mosey around and just like window shop at things? Do we have to like give in to all these criminals and just order things online and pick it up at the store? I just feel like that's a very like just lazy way to deal with the problem, but I agree with you. That would probably solve the problem overnight. I don't know. So we are now walking past the Salesforce Tower, publicly traded under the ticker symbol CRM. Renee B says iBuyDirect has good quality eyeglasses. Well, Renee, we'll find out soon. We will find out soon. Now, I wear contacts. I've said this before. I think many of you, we had this conversation yesterday, were recommending I get LASIK eye surgery. I'm looking into it, but here's the thing. I think it's just a little bit too expensive for me now to get LASIK. And contacts are not that inconvenient. They're only inconvenient and they start hurting when I wear them for more than 12 hours a day. After 12 hours, I gotta take them out because I get crazy headaches and they start floating around and it's not a good look. Hey, Hawaii, what's up? Happy belated birthday. For those of you who didn't know that, it was Hawaii's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to you again. Victor, what's up? Metpin says Salesforce CEO dumps tons of stock every day allegedly. Well, he's probably gonna step down soon as CEO. I mean, Mark Benioff, in my view, is arguably one of the best tech CEOs of all time. I would argue, right up there with Steve Jobs. I mean, he pioneered software as a service. Right? The tech industry completely changed on how you build customers because of Mark Benioff, right? A reoccurring revenue model, software made for and built for the cloud. Whoa, this is a really good shot of the Empire State Building. I wonder why we have this interesting color scheme here on the Empire. It looks great. Rachel K says your eyes changed, so LASIK has to be redone, I think. Juan Hernandez says, Tom, do you like sports? I do. I played soccer in college. John Lee says, Tom, if the Fed does not cut rates in 2024, will the 10-year continue to go up 10% mortgages soon in 2024? I think so. I actually think so. Well, we'll check on that now. That's a good segue. Thank you for asking that. Hey, Theo's here. What's up, Theo? So Salesforce employees love working there. Theo, have you read the book? Trailblazer by Mark Benioff? If you haven't, I'd recommend it. I'll send it to you. If you send me an email, I'll send you a copy as a thank you. That is a really good book, not only for anybody interested in tech, but about perseverance if you're trying to build a product. That is a very good book, particularly on how to build a company. So for any entrepreneurs out there, maybe you're running a startup or something like that, those are really good core founding values in that book. Very good. But let's talk about mortgage rates for a moment. Because as of right now, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage, according to bankrate.com, the average is 7.5%, so 7.5%. Now that's the average, right? So dependent on credit worthiness of the customer, some people are getting quoted as high as 8%, and some people are getting quoted, in the very, very low sevens, or maybe like 6.8%, right? So that's the average. Now, if you remember yesterday, and I would highly advise everybody to go back and watch this, if you go to CNBC's YouTube channel, you can rewatch the speech that Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell gave yesterday. And he said not once, not twice, but 3 times that they are committed to bringing inflation back down to their 2% target, and they will not entertain easing monetary conditions until that 2% target is met. So they didn't raise interest rates yesterday, but they alluded to the fact that they will raise rates at least one more time before the end of the year. If they do that, that's going to bring the Fed funds rate to a target range of 5.5% to 5.75%. I think that could potentially nudge the 30-year fixed to 8%, which isn't all that crazy, by the way. How many of you in the chat here bought a house right around 1995? Any viewers maybe have purchased their first property right around that time frame, like mid 90s to late 90s? Now chances are, if you did, and maybe even a little bit before that, your interest rates were 8%, right? So transactions got done, people bought homes, people sold homes when mortgage rates were 8%, and I think that'll continue when mortgage rates go back to 8%. Now, are valuations going to come down? Absolutely. But is the market going to start moving again and are deals going to get done? Yeah, of course. Because if sellers really want to get a deal done in this environment, they sort of have to come back to reality. We sort of talked about this at the very, very beginning of the live stream. One of the many reasons, I should say, one of the main reasons why people choose to buy as opposed to rent is because they can build equity in the property and have their monthly payment or their monthly mortgage payment be that of the same, if not a little bit less than renting. Well, right now, those deals are kind of turned upside down, right? If you think about a $500,000 deal in 2021, when interest rates were 3%, if you put 20% down and you leveraged out the 80 at 3%, well, your monthly payment on a $500,000 piece of property was probably going to be right around $2,200. Interest rates have nearly tripled. So a 7% 30-year fixed on the same $500,000 property, because prices haven't really come down, your monthly payment is going to be, $4,500 now. So buyers are looking at this and saying, wait, if my monthly payment on this 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house is going to be $4,500, well, why don't I just rent that same house, because the rent is going to be significantly less than the payment, right? And that is when the market kind of starts to teeter and goes back into balance, which I think will happen. So we'll see. All right, somehow we made our way to Times Square. I don't know how we got here, but we're here. Hey, left-handed, what's up? Hey, Dog is here. This is Tom. With all due respect, in the 1990s, people could afford to buy homes and still live. Now the young generation is getting harder and harder to buy a home. Yeah, exactly. I think that was the point, right? So the point is the relationship between rates and valuations, there's a correlation there, right? And this is why we always hammer on the debt market, right? If you think about what the debt market is, it's the cost of money. And in the relationship in the bond market is inverse. So as the prices of bonds go up, yields go down, and vice versa. So if you think about the collateral on the loan is the house. So as interest rates go down, as interest rates go up, which they are going up, well, guess what? The valuations on that potential collateral or that house is going to ease and moderate a little bit, right? That's the sort of the ebb and flow of the market. The reason why, a lot of millennials have been priced out of the housing market is because of the Federal Reserve. They have let accommodative monetary policy and accommodative interest rate policy be way too lackadaisical for too long, for almost a decade. So when you have cheap money and when you have massive amounts of liquidity, that drives asset bubbles. And boy, did we get an asset bubble. All right, but if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We usually go live every single day at 8:30, and we'd love to have you guys here. But I think we'll leave Times Square and head down towards 34th Street, Penn Station. But before we do that, I must tie my shoe. So I have to put you guys down on the floor. So we're going to have our weekly rendition of the Walks on Wall Street rat camera. So make sure you guys look alive down there, because anything's possible on the rat cam. All right, how'd you guys make out down there? Anything creepy, anything crawly down there or what? All right, let's head out. I think we'll have just enough time to do a second checkup on the new Penn Station, which is a Vornado development. A lot of the scaffolding is coming down and a lot of progress is being made in and around the Penn District, which is great. Somebody said it's therapeutic down there. How so? How is it therapeutic down there? That's funny. So this is the NASDAQ on the corner of 43rd Street and Broadway. This is where they used to do the Investors Business Daily recap, but IBD was purchased by News Corporation, so they now do that on 6th Avenue. But this is still Squawk Box on CNBC. Hey, Western Mass Dave. What's up, Dave? Dave, I know you said you had allergies. I think I'm getting a teeny bit of allergies today, too. I was in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and they have a lot of ragweed. And I am extremely allergic to that, like crazy allergic to that. All right, let's merge onto Broadway, and this should take us right by Joe's Pizza. Now, we've talked a lot about interest rates tonight, but I think it's appropriate to talk about reality in your local market. So wherever you are across the country, are you starting to see, and be honest, are you starting to see the housing market soften a bit? Are you starting to see rents come down? Are you starting to see sales prices be slashed, right? Maybe like a 5% reduction, 10% reduction. We're starting to see that a little bit here in New York. We're starting to see rents soften, particularly in the luxury market. And we're starting to see properties sit on the market for a lot longer. Solom says, no, Tom, not at all here. 87 says, absolutely not. Wow, everybody's saying no. So where are you guys from, by the way? I think that'd be great to ask. Penelope in Tennessee says, nope. Somebody says, not in Vegas. Tim says in Maryland, no. Ariel says yes in Weston, Florida. which makes sense. You know, the state of Florida is pretty big, but Florida's actually been doing a good job with new builds, with new inventory coming on the market. Someone says, I don't think so in DC. Bills is no in South Florida. Yeah, I've noticed that too, particularly single family homes in South Florida. Now, condo market is probably softening a little bit, but in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, maybe like all of Miami-Dade, Broward County, for single family homes, there's still like insane demand. But I think you're gonna have a pretty decent correction in condos there, particularly luxury condos. Unijays is not by me in Jersey. Theos is not in Tampa. Okay. Hey, Ken Brockton says Detroit rents and home sales costs are increasing. On bills, a single family, nothing less for $650K. Well, in my neighborhood, there was just a recent trade that was really wild. And this is just to the left as you go over the Intercoastal from Sunny Isles Beach. It was a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, less than 1,000 square feet. It traded, I think it was 420,000. I'll look it up. It was either 410 or 420. I gotta see. Which is crazy. Guys, those homes pre-pandemic were like $250,000. They've doubled. And the thing needs a crazy amount of work. Someone says major housing crisis here in Canada, particularly after the wildfires. Mike C says 1 bathroom would be a no-go for me in the house. Uggs says Tennessee is still booming where I am. Touring different places says Tom, I'm from North Brunswick, New Jersey. All right, let's continue on down here. This will take us right into 34th Street, Herald Square. Now maybe tomorrow, since it's going to be nice weather again, maybe we'll walk across the Manhattan Bridge. Someone says, I think Jacksonville, Florida is about to take off. Really? Okay. Interesting. Hey, Claude says, bonjour, Tom, from Thunder Bay, Ontario. Welcome. Let me pull off to the side and read this. It says here it's the chief and council that decide the price of the home we rent to own. Interesting. Hey, John says, Tom, thanks for all you do. I've learned so much from your streams. Excuse me. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm excited to get back to Miami. I think when I get back, I guess that'll be an update. I had that written down because we were talking about inflation. Now guess what? I actually had a really good experience with purchasing my flight. So I booked my flight. I'm gonna leave out of JFK. I'm gonna arrive at Miami International Airport. The flight ticket was $99. Great deal. Now, I guess this is still kind of off-peak season, right? From people flying to... Actually, no, I don't think so. That's actually just a really good price. That's kind of similar to the prices that I was paying, a year ago, year and a half ago, I would say. Actually, like 2 years ago, I would get tickets for, sometimes 50, 55, sometimes $70. Now, every time that I go to buy something, it's almost like 250. Sometimes like 170, but mostly right around in the 200s. $99, not bad. It's a pretty good deal. Someone says, what airline? American Airlines. Now, I usually like to fly Delta now because I've been taking your advice. Everybody in the chat was like, fly Delta because with T-Mobile, they give you the free Wi-Fi, which is unbelievable. It's fantastic, right? But here's what I found out. Here's what I've been starting to notice. The Delta ticket is usually about like $35 to $40 more than American Airlines. So I think they're just saying free Wi-Fi and then just slightly overpricing the ticket from American. Hey, they got to do what they got to do. But I like Delta. I usually fly Delta. Delta and American, I'd say. Now, does anybody in the chat fly solely with one airline? Like, what is your airline of choice? Someone says Alaskan Airlines. Wow, Mike Cease. Tom, I went through JFK earlier this week, and man, was that place busy. Well, that's good to know. I'll probably get there early. Now, you know what is worth it? I will say this, especially for those of us who travel a lot, TSA PreCheck or Clear is 100% required now. The last time I was at JFK, the line was literally all the way to the back of the terminal, and I just zoomed right through with Clear. That is totally worth the $100 a year. Someone says I just fly Spirit. I refuse to fly Spirit. Limitless NYC says I used to use JetBlue all the time. JetBlue's nice. I think JetBlue is a New York company too. Gods is American Airlines is my favorite. Dale says from Dallas Fort Worth, you almost have to use American Airlines if you want to fly nonstop. Ah, okay. Someone says Hawaiian Airlines. Now my dream is to be able to fly Emirates one day. Those planes are crazy, but the tickets are really, really expensive. I'd love to fly to like Dubai or something like that. Bottomless Coffee says that guy taking a leak or playing hide and seek. I think he's doing both. I think he's multitasking. He's taking a leak and he's playing a game of hide and seek. Lisa says United gave me a free flight voucher for helping with the medical emergency on the flight. They should have gave you a lot more than that. They should have gave you the keys to the city. I really respect that, though, to be honest. You stood up, you saved the day. That's like one of my biggest fears, to have something horrible happen. So it's always good to have good Samaritans like yourself to be able to step in, and particularly if you're a medical professional. So thank you for what you do, and I really do mean that, by the way. Okay, we've officially made it here to 34th Street, Herald Square. You're standing right outside of Macy's. Oh, Rick Kelly says, Tom, my daughter works for Delta. I'm on her flight benefits. I could fly anywhere for free non-stop. Oh, non-revenue standby. I thought you said you could fly anywhere for free non-stop. I kind of got let down at the... What does non-revenue standby mean? Just like basic standby? So you have to wait at the airport? I mean, it's still a good perk, right? It's still a pretty good perk. I always wonder what it would be like to be a flight attendant. You get to travel all over the world, stay in hotels for free, fly anywhere you want for free. That's a cool gig. That's a really cool job. And it's well paid too. And I think there's a shortage of flight attendants. Now they do deal with a lot, particularly now. Guys, look at that. Such vibrant colors on top of the Empire State Building tonight. Stephanie says, Tom, Empire State Building lights, rotation of country's flag that represents Hispanic Heritage Month in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. Very cool. I didn't know that. Thank you. I probably should look that up before I start streaming, but I didn't know that. So apparently the Empire State Building is lit up tonight for Hispanic Heritage Month. I think it looks great. That's a really cool color scheme. Let's actually walk over to Fifth Avenue so we can see a little bit better. Now last week was Mexican Independence Day, right? The city was going crazy for that. Rick Kelly says, I fly international, I just pay the tax. Oh my God, dude. That's a great deal. I didn't know they get that for friends and family as well. I'd be using that a lot. Let's just say that. Now there's also a, what's it called? A pilot shortage in the United States. That's another really, really good paying job. Aviation is totally screwed up in the United States. If anybody's flown recently, it's always been a horror show. The flights are delayed, the flights are canceled. In addition to that, there's a shortage of air traffic controllers. And that's also a very good job. It pays really well. Yeah, Sunshine After Rain says, wow, a pilot shortage. I believe one of the reasons that's causing that is there's forced retirement age. Is that correct? So a pilot, once they reach a certain age, I don't know exactly what it is, but I believe it's forced retirement. And a lot of younger people just don't want to do the job, which is strange because it's such a cool job and it's very, very well paid. Very well paid job. Solo flyers says they're forced to retire a bit too early, in my opinion. Someone says, I would love to visit New York, but I'm broke and I live in the UK. Well, that's actually the best time to visit New York. And I'm not just saying that to be funny, that's actually true. When you got nothing to lose, like you got nothing to lose. If you're broke and you live in the UK and you want to take a shot at making it big in New York, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? You'll be broke and you'll be living in New York for it. And you could put out maximum effort because you have nothing to lose. Literally, you have nothing to lose. So I would come here and I would bust my ass and you'd be surprised. You'll be a massive success. And I really do mean that, by the way. I'm not just being a jerk. I really mean that. If I was broke living in the UK and I really loved New York City, I would panhandle on the street or I'd get a job at McDonald's, I'd save up for a flight, and I would fly to New York and figure something out. And I think you'll do it. I believe in you. Hey, Midwest private equity guy, good to see you. Thank you so much for your very generous donations. This is Tom, thanks for doing these videos. Thank you for your donation, and thank you for your support. I really do appreciate it. Midwest private equity guy. Thank you, sir. Wow. Guys, look at this. Okay, this is probably one of the cooler views of the Empire State Building. We are standing directly across from it. And right on the corner of Fifth Avenue, they have the flagship, what's it called? The Reserve Roastery. The Starbucks Reserve Roastery, ticker symbol SBUX. Now, Howard Schultz is probably one of the, well, his story is probably the greatest American success story in history. Howard Schultz. Brooklyn born, right? He was born into a very, very poor Brooklyn Jewish community. Had nothing, quite literally. He grew up in the projects. You should read his books. He grew up in the projects of Brooklyn, New York. And Howard Schultz's book was one of the books that really encouraged me to get into sales. Because a lot of people don't know this. Howard Schultz's first job, or one of his first jobs, was not his Starbucks gig, right? Creating Starbucks. It was selling copiers door to door to business. He worked for Xerox. And that takes a lot of hustle, that takes a lot of grit, and that takes a lot of determination. Now this was obviously pre 9/11. You can't go into an office tower in New York City anymore and go from office to office and knock on doors. It's just, you can't, you have to have key cards. But back in the day, that's what a lot of salesmen and saleswomen did, right? They would go building to building, office tower to office tower in all the major cities across the United States and do business to business sales. So phenomenal American success story. Phenomenal American, Howard Schultz. Wow, Rachel K says, I went to high school with Howard Schultz. We were middle class, not poor. That's so cool that you went to high school with Howard Schultz. Rachel K, can you send me an email? I'd like to know a little bit more about that, if you don't mind. That is such an amazing story. I couldn't imagine going to high school with somebody and then everywhere I look, I see their company. Like literally on every street corner in America. Now, we'll really quickly cover Starbucks, then I think I gotta boogie out of here. Ooh, I actually have to go. I gotta cut you guys short. So guys, thank you so much for joining the live stream tonight. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we will see you all right back here tomorrow live on Walks in Wall Street. So thank you everybody, I appreciate it. Western Mass Dave, Joan K, all of our moderators, Sunshine After Rain, Richard Vogel, Hawaii, Midwest Private Equity Guy, you're great. Thank you. Steve from Buffalo, Optimus 17. And I got a boogie before the phone dies because I got to get the subway. So everybody take care, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Happy Friday Eve. All right, how do I shut this thing off?